Good evening, everyone. Chip Cooper for FTC Guardian and my partner, Alan Cutts. Here we are at the second and last Hangout for the month of February 2019.
Can you believe it?
The year is passing by. We've already, as you know, we've been to that first big event in January, late January, which is the Marketers Cruise. Had a great time, met a lot of people, and now we're getting ready for our second one. At the end of February, traffic and conversions next week. So we're trying to get ready and get all the stuff we're going to carry with us and everything. So I'll turn it over to Alan and let him tell you what he's been up to.
Yeah, it's anybody who goes on a marketer's cruise, you have to expect you get 3,000 plus people together on a cruise. There's going to be a little bit of sickness and downtime when you get home, and I believe everybody at some point has. If it wasn't a flu, it was a cold. And plus going from East Coast to West Coast, it's just what happens. So Chip and I were just talking. We're all just now getting up and feeling really good and getting a lot of work done, being productive. And we're about to hop on planes Saturday or Sunday to fly back out to California and spend another 4 or 5 days with 5,000 plus people. So for either one of us, this isn't the kind of thing we enjoy doing. It's just what we do for the business or whatever. So it's not what we really enjoy doing. Neither one. Both of us are kind of ritual type people. We like certain things. Chip works out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at like 6 a.m., right? That's your schedule at the gym. And I'm the same way every day at the gym or my basement gym, everything. So it's tough. So anyway, what I want to do is kind of show you what we're handing out. Chip wrote another book. So this will be number 3 or 4 for FTC Guardian, right?
If you count all of them, but it'll be number 4 for FTC Guardian, I believe. And number 6.
Yeah. So Chip just wrote another book. This is what we're giving out at FTC Guardian, at our booth at FTC Guardian. It's specifically to digital agencies. Unless you're a digital agency, it really has no value to you. But it's very, very good for if you run a digital agency, you do digital marketing for customers. Maybe you have a web design company. Even if it's a web design company, you have customers. It's a good book. We'll be handing these out at at our booth, as well as we've got a website or a page on our website that's going up this week to sell it. It's kind of one of those things where you just pay for the shipping and get the book kind of thing. So we'll be doing that. The title is Digital Agency. Are you a trusted advisor? And Chip can tell you a quick story about being a trusted advisor and his first entry into being as an attorney. What his boss or his mentor told him when he came out of college as being a trusted advisor.
You want me to tell the story real quick?
Yeah, tell them a quick story. Tell them about it.
It's my first day reporting into a law firm. This is after going to law school for 3 years and passing the bar and all of that stuff. And it was all sort of leading up to this day, right? You walk in and you got a job in a law firm as a beginning associate. And you've been looking forward to this for a long time, but you're a little, few misgivings about what am I really getting into. And so it was a small firm. The senior partner had been around. He was a partner in a big downtown firm, and this was his small boutique firm. And they hired me, and so we went in, and he was talking about, time records and all the stuff that I needed to do. And then he gave me this little talk. He said, you're going to be doing corporate transactions. You're going to work with business clients. You're going to do business transactions, which is what I wanted to do. That's what I interviewed with him to tell him I wanted to do. So we were in agreement with that. But he said, don't just be a hired gun doing transactions. You need to go to the level of a trusted advisor. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, transactions are good, but you need to become an advisor for something above just the transactions. You need to be more of a strategic thinker about this guy's business. And you need to give him advice, and he needs to be trusting enough to take it. And if you rise to that level, then 2 things are going to happen. Your career is going to be much more satisfying to you because you're going to have a really good relationship with this guy. And then secondly, you'll make a lot more money, right? Because you become the trusted advisor. He would trust you with more transactions, different types, more of an advisor for his business than just a hired gun. And so I spent a long time trying to figure out how to do that. He didn't really tell me exactly how to do it. And it took a while to, develop a way of going about it. But he was right. I mean, I learned how to do it over time. It didn't do it in a year or two, but I worked toward it. But it's true. The people that I've become trusted advisors to, very strong relationships with, we've become good personal friends, and they've trusted me with a lot of stuff. Nobody's ever complained about my bills, right? The guys who complain sometimes were when I was just doing the hired gun stuff. So it's worked out very well. And agencies, I think, are sort of the same. I mean, they are advising about maybe a campaign and then maybe another campaign, but they need to move up to being an overall advisor for marketing and sales strategy overall. And if they can achieve that, then their personal satisfaction in terms of their career is going to be A+, and they're going to end up making more money building their agency. So that's what the book is all about. It's not about the legal side of being a trusted advisor, even though that's what I've done. I have some background in it. It's how a digital agency can achieve that.
Yep.
So that's what it's all about. Okay.
All right. That's what it's about. Let's go.
So let's get started. I'm going to go to share my screen here. Share my screen. And you tell me, Alan, if you can see it. You should be able to see it. When I say it, I mean the title slide. There you see Weasel Words for ad claims and substantiation. And you see that example, make up to $22 per hour teaching online. More about that in just a minute. So let me get started here. I've got to sort of manually go through this. Okay. So now we're underway. You've seen the housekeeping announcement many times. The presentation is for informational purposes only. It's not legal advice, and we're not affiliated with the Federal Trade Commission. So let's talk background a little bit. We have had a lot of discussions because it's so fundamental about ad claims, right? And then particularly not only ad claims, but how the substantiation must go along with the ad claims. And there are two specific prior hangouts that you really need to be aware of to supplement what we're talking about in this particular hangout. And they're listed there in yellow. FTC substantiation workshop back in May 2017, and the Nutrisystem model, which I believe was about the same point in time, probably the summer of 2017. Both of these are excellent background for what we're talking about in this hangout, of course, which is Weasel Words. So let's begin our discussion here about what an ad claim really is. Very fundamental, very important. Essentially, it's a specific statement, express or implied, and it's provable true or false. And if you look on this image of a Cheerios cereal box, you'll see a very specific express ad claim. Lower your cholesterol 4% in 6 weeks. It doesn't say you might lower it or you can lower it. It says lower your cholesterol 4% in 6 weeks. A very specific statement, a very specific percentage amount, and a very specific time period. A classic example of an ad claim. Lose 10 pounds your first month, make $10,000 your first month, all sorts of different types of ad claims here. And then along with it, as I've just mentioned, there is a substantiation requirement to back up that claim, to support that claim. And the idea, of course, is the net impression of a substantial minority of reasonable consumers, right? That net impression is what you need to substantiate. Not what you think it should be, but what it is, basically. And you're supposed to do it with what is known as competent and reliable scientific evidence. Now, how does the FTC test ad claims for purposes of making an enforcement action for a deceptive claim? They ask these questions. Number one, is the claim false? Number two, is it maybe not false, but is it misleading? Number three, is it substantiated or not? And number four, is it material to a substantial number of reasonable consumers? And if it is, if you answer yes to those, all four, then there is an enforcement claim that could be brought. That's the idea. So you need to understand that an ad claim should always be considered a part of this two sides of the same coin. On one side, you have the ad claim, and the ad claim doesn't stand alone. You have to be able to substantiate the net impression, which is the reverse side of that coin. So we have a big question here regarding strategy, and that is, what is it in terms of you acting as an advertiser for your own products or services, or acting as an advertiser as an affiliate for someone else's, right? What are your strategies, your basic strategies regarding these types of claims? What do you really need to do? What do you need to think about in terms of your options? Well, you know now for number one there on this list, specific claims, that is involving the highest level of substantiation. I mean, go back to the Cheerios claim, 4% cholesterol reduction in a specific period of time. You've got to actually show that that happens, right? With almost all of the consumers. And then on the lower level there, number three, the puffery, which of course involves exaggeration, hyperbole. It is not an ad claim, and it is not regulated at all. We've got a number of hangouts involving puffery, and if you're not quite sure what they are, you need to search in our search box there on the dashboard page of our membership and watch a couple of our hangouts devoted to puffery, because at the upper level, there's the highest risk involving substantiation. At the number three level, no risk at all. Absolutely not regulated. But now in the middle, it's what we're going to be talking about in this presentation, which is weasel words. Now, we have already talked about one specific type of weasel words, which is the up to claim. You know, save up to 47% on your heating bills in next winter, that sort of thing. We're going to expand the scope of this now from an up to type of weasel word, which we've covered in past Hangouts, to sort of round it out in terms of the other examples of weasel word type claims. And in terms of risk, you believe or probably that it falls between the highest level on the top, where you have specific claims, and then no risk at all on the bottom with puffery. Weasel words sort of is in the middle there in terms of the level of risk. And that, of course, relates to your substantiation burden. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And let's begin with, what in the world are weasel words in the first place? And you can see here, there are a lot of, if you look up the term weasel word, which I've done, you'll see a lot of different definitions, but here's one. It actually promises nothing specific with express language. It may be an ad claim depending on net impression, and context is the key. That's really the most succinct definition I can find. So here's some quick examples. Something can do something. It can produce a result, but the real question is, will it actually do it, right? Another one is, it helps you accomplish something. But does it really? How does it help? How much does it help? But it helps in some way. This is a vague type of claim, right? Can, helps. Also virtually. It virtually works. It almost works, but does it really work or not? And then, of course, the up to claim, you know, lose up to a certain number of pounds or save up to a certain amount of dollars. But what are we really talking about? How much does it really mean? So these are four quick examples of weasel words to sort of get you started here. Now, if you also do some additional research into weasel words, you will see a lot of commentary about weasel words in terms of value judgments. And you can see here, I'm not going to read these. You can take a quick glance at them as I'm talking about them. But you see highlighted in yellow terms: deceitful, deceptive, deceptive, cowardly deception, and then deceive again, right? So a number of authors don't like weasel words at all. It used in any context, certainly not in advertising, but in any other type of context, in writing, right? Or in verbal communication. So weasel words sort of have a bad reputation, generally speaking, right? But as marketers and as advertisers, we really don't care very much about that, right? All we really care about is what does the FTC have to say about this in terms of advertising, as you can see there with the arrow. We'll get to that in just a minute. But the real question that we might want to ask prior to the time we get to see what the FTC says is, why do we want to use these weasel words in the first place? Well, the reason advertisers use them, the rationale, is that they're nonspecific and therefore might require lower substantiation burdens than specific claims, right? Lose 10 pounds in your first month is very specific. You've got to back it up. But if it helps you lose weight or helps you lose up to 10 pounds a month, then the idea or the argument by the advertiser anyway would be, well, the specific substantiation burden is less. But is this really true? We'll delve into that here in the remainder of this presentation. Now we get to the real question raised just a minute ago. What in the world does the FTC have to say about it? And here it is. I mean, if you really want to boil down exactly what the FTC has to say, this is it. The FTC only wants to know what the net impression of the reasonable consumer is. You know, it's not what we think it is or what we think it should be. It's how does it resonate? How does the statement involving a weasel word resonate with consumers? And you see here in parents under the headline, of a significant minority of reasonable consumers. Not everyone, but a significant minority of reasonable consumers. And that's what the FTC is concerned about, the only thing, quite frankly, because if it resonates a certain way with a significant minority of reasonable consumers, then you've got to substantiate that certain way. And this text here that I'm going to read here in just a second is taken from a very well-known case involving an appellate court decision involving Palm Wonderful. The weasel words in the ad help. Whether a consumer interprets can, which is a weasel word, can help health as will it help, depends on context. So you see that the FTC not only relies upon the statement containing the weasel word, but how is that statement used in the context? Are there images or other statements that will help provide context and might provide for a reasonable consumer a background to derive certain meaning, right? So that's how the FTC views it, and that's what we need to think about it. So I'm going to give you a few examples, and I'm going to distinguish weasel word claims that are either measurable or not. And I'll just go ahead and give you one clue. The up to claim is measurable, right? But this one is not. You see in the upper left-hand corner, not a measurable efficacy claim. And the claim is it helps fight cavities. Now, the claim does not say eliminates cavities, right? It doesn't say that. It says helps fight cavities, whatever that means. That's clearly a weasel word statement. And the question, of course, is it's not measurable. We know that. What is the net impression of a significant minority of reasonable consumers? Here's another one. Again, not measurable. So clean, it's virtually spotless. Well, it's not spotless, but it's sort of maybe kind of spotless. So what is it that what is the net impression that has to be substantiated? Obviously, the advertiser is believing that it's certainly less than saying it cleans your dishes to the point where they're spotless. It says virtually spotless. So it plants the seed that it sort of gets them spotlessly clean, but it doesn't take you all the way. And the big mystery is what is the net impression? And of course, the advertiser says it's a lot lower than you know, cleans to the point of being spotless. Here's another Cheerios example with a far less aggressive claim than what we saw initially, with a very specific reduction in cholesterol over a specific period of time. Here it is: Cheerios may reduce your cholesterol. Not measurable, very, very much a weasel word type claim. Again, what is the net impression? And context is the key. Now, this one might be measurable. It says lasts even longer. But longer than what? Is it longer than a competitor's product? We don't know. That all we see is the front page of this display card containing the product, right? Or it could mean last even longer than the prior version of this product. We're just not quite sure whether it's measurable. Now, if it refers to the prior version of this type battery, then it might be measurable. But at any event, it's a weasel word claim. Now we get into the measurable category. Save up to 52% on car insurance. I'll take you to one that you've already seen if you've been with us for a year or so here with respect to our Hangouts. Here's another one. You can save up to 40% on your water bill. Another up to claim, again, measurable. And here's the diet thing. Lose up to 20 pounds, 4 inches, and restore overall health in 21 days. That's a mouthful. Measurable up to claim. Up to claims are very important. And here's one that we saw at the very beginning on the title slide for this presentation: make up to $22 per hour teaching online. That's, again, another up to claim. And this is one that we've seen in a prior Hangout. If you search on up to claims in the members area, you will see a Hangout devoted to this very specific case. And there you see proven to save up to 47% on your heating bills and cooling bills, right? That's a very specific up to claim. And if you look at it again, the FTC in this particular case actually commissioned a consumer study. And it wasn't just a study by anyone. It was by a very professional, scientific, statistically based study by professionals who know what they're doing, in order to determine exactly what the net impression was of consumers who see this claim, save up to 47%. Exactly what the significant minority would derive from that. What is their net impression? And you see at the bottom, very important, the FTC determined, based on this actual study, that the substantiation burden was all or almost all, which is pretty darn close to a claim without the up to. Proven to save 47%, no up to. Now, one question I have is, and I'm not proficient in statistics and sampling and surveys enough to know whether the questions that were asked might have contributed to this result of almost all, or a very substantial minority of consumers believe that just about everybody could achieve that result. I don't know if that's a fair result for this study. And if you have another professional firm do a similar study, they may come up with something different. But in any event, the FTC says an up to claim involves a net impression of almost everyone who reads it. Everyone being consumers believes that they can achieve that result. So therefore, the substantiation requirement is all or almost all people should be able to achieve it. That's pretty darn high. And then Nutrisystem, which I think really cracked the code on how to use up to claims effectively. And you recall at the beginning of this presentation, I cited this Nutrisystem Hangout as being, I think, one of the best we've ever had. It goes into great detail on exactly how Nutrisystem uses this. But you see, this is not the current sales page or lead page on their website. It's been changed a little bit. But you see here a very aggressive weight loss claim: lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall your first month, right? So if you follow what we just talked about with the FTC study, the substantiation burden is all or almost all people should achieve that pretty significantly high result. What Nutrisystem did is they added, and of course, let me raise this up, with this claim alone, the substantiation requirement is all or almost all. However, the Nutrisystem decided to put down a disclosure, which you don't see here, that says generally expected results are 1 to 2 pounds per week. So if I go back here and I see this, this lose up to 13 pounds, 7 inches first month, but then the generally expected results are less, the Nutrisystem, I think, took advantage of really a high level of recognition of this upper level of achievement, 13 pounds, 7 inches, but then brought it back down with the disclosure that most people can achieve just 1 to 2 pounds a week. And as far as I know, there have been no FTC actions. So I believe this particular strategy, again, which we've gone into great detail in another Hangout, is an outstanding strategy for you to model in your marketing with up to claims. So this is the final slide here. You can see we go back here to these prior 2 Hangouts. One approach is to simply search in the members area, add claims. You'll see a lot of Hangouts devoted to add claims and substantiation. But then the 2 that we highly recommend that you look at are the FTC Substantiation Workshop 1, May 2017, and also the Nutrisystem model that focuses on that up to strategy, up to claim strategy. So now we've talked about add claims, puffery, and we've expanded our coverage in the middle here with respect to Weasel Words, not only for up to claims, but other types of Weasel Word claims. So the takeaways: Weasel Words are vague terms that promise nothing specific, and their rationale for advertisers, which would be you, is that they may require lower substantiation burden than the specific claims would require. Nevertheless, it's really the net impression that must be substantiated. Context is always the key. We still believe, though, the net impression should be lower, except perhaps for the measurable ones, and specifically the up to claims. But if you take the up to claim the way Nutrisystem did and then disclose generally expected results, you're very likely to have a really good strategy for advertising with that type of claim. The tags that I'm going to add to this video, the replay video tomorrow morning, are add claims, substantiation, and puffery. And then, of course, Weasel Words and Nutrisystem, because I like their strategy a lot. That's it. So let's go to away from the share my screen and get back to where we are, where you can see us here. And I'm going to ask Alan if he sees any particular questions there in the question box that we can address at this time. We have someone calling in with a question.
They're calling with a question. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see anything yet. No.
Well, maybe it was just so perfectly.
Yeah, it was so thorough. That's what it was.
There's no questions, right?
Yeah, they've got it. And, what I want to point out, I mean, I don't know about how many people are on the go. I mean, we have a lot of people here, but I don't know how many people are actually doing advertising. You never know how many people are actually doing the advertising. And I do, right? I do a lot of it. So this kind of stuff is really important. I, as much as possible, stick in the weasel and puffery category because as much as possible, I don't want to get into the testimonial stuff. I mean, I love testimonials and I love, being able to put a name with the face and, being an actual testimonial, but it just makes things so much easier when you stick with the puffery and the Weasel Words, when you're
testimonials, if you don't have a specific one, like I lost 10 pounds in the first month.
Yep.
If the opinion testimonial is like puffery, except it's a customer saying it rather than you.
Yep.
I love working with Alan Cutts. He's a marketing professional. He's so conscientious.
And here's the thing is when you work with customers like I do, you almost have to instruct them how to put together puffery type testimonials because they want to give the ad claim testimonial.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what it did for their business. So they want to give you the ad claim testimonial. It's like, no, I really don't want the ad claim testimonial because then I've got to do all this backup stuff that I don't really want to have to do. Let me show you how to do a, kind of a puffery testimonial because it's better for me and easier for me from the marketing standpoint. So now we got a few custom. Would this apply the same way to copy on a website? Absolutely.
Yeah. That's advertising.
Yeah.
No, it's not advertising that's published on some other media, right? Or Facebook or Google or whatever. It's your website. It's got a headline and it's got all sorts of claims on your sales page and maybe on other pages that aren't typically your sales page.
I want to get a book real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. But while he's talking, let me strongly recommend the Nutrisystem Hangout. And here's one reason why. Nutrisystem did a marvelous job with testimonials. They sell a weight loss program, right? So they've got dozens and dozens of testimonials. At the very top, you have a very trim man or woman saying, I lost 95 pounds, but it doesn't say how long it took. It might have taken 3 years or 9 months. You just don't know. So because it omits the time period, the substantiation burden is less. I mean, you don't have to worry about being so exact to know that it actually happened within a certain time period. Then on the left side of the picture of this person, there's nothing but puffery, the way Alan is talking about. She's not talking about all the specific things. She's talking about how good she feels about herself now, that she's achieved this weight that she's always wanted to achieve. It's all opinion. It doesn't have to be substantiated. And then at the bottom of her photograph, there's an asterisk, I lost 95 pounds. And then it says expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. So they blended puffery with a sort of a diluted specific claim in a really effective way.
Yeah. And just so you guys get it, I mean, I'm a marketer and, in the IM world or make money online world, that kind of thing, people want to make money. But the bottom line is, and if you really understand it, you understand the psychology, people don't want to make money. They want what goes along with making money, right? They want that feeling, that whatever it is. When it loses weight, I mean, people want to lose weight, but they don't really care about losing weight. They want what goes along. They want to look good. They want to feel good. They want to be able to live longer for their grandkids, and they want to be able to go, paddleboarding or whatever that may be. They want to do these things. So if you really think about it, using the easy, lose 10 pounds in 10 days, that's not what people really want to do. When you really get down to the emotional buying side of stuff, again, this is where advertising is it's on an emotional level. It's what do you want to do with that weight loss? What do you want to do with that making money? What do you want to do with that thing that you're doing? So learn how to do that. Learn how to get to the emotional side of it. And if you stay away from that other side, you're not doing, ad claims anymore. You're sticking in the weasel word and the puffery section because that's what people really want. They really want
same or better conversions with virtually no risk at all. No risk of any kind of claim. And so for some reason, it appears that a lot of beginning internet marketers have gone to some course or read a book about copywriting, and they believe it has to nail down. You can make $10,000 in your first month. You can lose 100 pounds, all this stuff. But as Alan says, okay, it works sort of, but it doesn't have to be that way. No. There are other ways to tap into the emotion without being so specific, but by painting a picture about how you're going to feel after you lose the weight, right? And that is puffery, or should be puffery, depending on how you say it. Right. And it can be just as or more effective than lose 10 pounds in your first month.
Yeah, people buy emotionally. They don't buy logically. People buy emotionally. So
it's not required that you just nail it specifically. It's just not.
Yep. So I want to just from an advertising standpoint, if you actually, somebody said on here they're an advertiser. Michelle, I'm an advertiser. If you're writing ads, it looks like it's reversed here. but it's called Cashvertising. I keep the book on my desk all the time, and whenever time I go to write ads, I scroll through it. It's not a book that you'll read.
Hold it up to the camera, just real still.
I did, but it's reversed.
Oh, okay. Cashvertising.
Cashvertising. Yeah, it's reversed for whatever reason.
What's the author's name?
Drew Eric Whitman.
Did you get it on?
I bought it on Amazon. Yeah, it's on Amazon. Matter of fact, I just sent it to my brother. My brother works for a television ad agency out of Killeen, Texas, and he's getting more in depth and helping people with their ads and stuff. I keep it on my desk, and it's really not a book you're going to read from cover to cover. It's a book that you're going to pick up when you're writing ads and going, I'm looking for ideas to write some ads or that kind of stuff. And like I said, I scroll. You're writing sales letters, writing ads. The whole book is only 207 pages, and that's with all the junk in it. So, it's a good book to help you if you run an ad agency or if you do actual advertising, to have on your desktop to do it. I've got so many other books around here to do that.
Excellent.
Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz.
Of those books, which is your number one reference? The one you just had there, Cashvertising?
Yeah, the two go hand in hand. These two go hand in hand. I keep them because they are on my desk at all times. Breakthrough Advertising.
What's the title of that one?
Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. Yeah.
And that's also on Amazon as well, right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon as well. And there's
there you have it. Cutts is an expert advertiser. That's what he does. He's really good at it. And he may have in another life thought that all you had to be so specific about these promises, but what he's learned is you can probably be at least or more successful with conversions with very little risk, if any, by using this technique. And that's terrific. That's terrific.
Yep. Okay. Let me see. If several people have asked about the book, I'll send out an email when the website or the page is actually available to buy it for shipping only.
The first Hangout of March, which is the second week in March, I believe, is going to be devoted to a preview of that book, and we'll have a link to exactly how you get it. So if you hang on for about 2 more weeks, we'll have a complete Hangout devoted to that book and the link. And we're going to be talking with you then. We're presenting the book at Traffic and Conversions. So we'll sort of share some stories with you about how that goes and sort of give you a preview of the book in the Hangout and tell you exactly how you can get your copy.
Yep. And the page isn't ready and stuff like that yet, so we'll do that. Let me do this. It's a couple of people have asked about Cashvertising. I'm going to just put it in the chat real quick. Cashvertising.
So one point I'll make here while he's doing that is that as you probably know, and as we've said on a number of occasions, these Hangouts are not purely legal, right? We believe very strongly that just talking about the legal bullet points in a vacuum is not very helpful, because the legal rules and regulations have to relate to marketing in the real world, right? And there's always tension about how you go about doing it. And so one of the reasons we believe that these Hangouts are so effective is that I'm the legal guy, but I'm not in control of this completely. I do the presentation, but then when we get to this Q&A thing, Alan sort of takes over at times, and he provides the marketing side of the argument to you, which is very, very helpful. And he provides a good balance for how it really works in the real world, which he lives in every day. He's up to his eyeballs in this every single day. And that's why I'm so bullied about about how we do these things, because I don't know where else you would find a top marketer and a legal guy, coming together to give you a balanced approach to this stuff. So you've now finished your keying in.
Yeah,
right?
I put it in there. I put the two names of the two books, and those are just good books to have on your. If you're running ads, I don't care if they're Facebook ads, Google ads, you're writing a sales letter or whatever. They're good to flip through. I don't think I've ever read either one of them cover to cover, either one of them. But I go through them and scroll, and look at different chapters at different times based on what I'm trying to do. And, and they give me ideas of things to write or things to script or how to write stuff. So how to script it.
Any other questions, or is that about it?
No, we've got some awesomes. And how about the authors? Okay, let me just get the authors here. Somebody said the books. I think if you type the two names in, you'll find them. The first one is Drew Eric Whitman. That is cash advertising. So that's cash advertising. And the other one is Eugene Schwartz. That one may be a little expensive on Amazon. I'm not really sure. It's one of those books that's really hard to get a hold of because it's been out for a really long time, and they've raised the price of it. Only ad agencies.
The price goes up rather than down with age. That's good.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that they really try to make it so it's really for ad agencies. Breakthrough advertising.
And by the way, full disclosure, we're not getting a commission or anything for these books.
Yeah, Bill. Bill, is that $487 for that can't be cash advertising. It's got to be breakthrough advertising. Is that what it is, Bill? For breakthrough advertising, somebody put $487. I actually have 2 or 3 copies of it, just because the places I've been to and stuff like. Yeah, Bill says they've got it listed at $487 on Amazon. Dig around, you might find it. Look on eBay. See if you can find for less on eBay.
Oh my goodness! I thought you were kidding.
No.
Oh wow! I wish I could sell a book for $487.
Yeah.
I need to learn some tricks of the trade here.
Yeah, okay. I think I have 2 copies of it or something like that. But yeah, it's up there because it's really designed for ad firms and stuff like that. So they don't want just everybody having it, right? So
any more questions?
That's it. I think that's it.
So, okay, I've enjoyed presenting this one in particular because I think it really, really goes to the heart of what a lot of you are either doing now or will be doing soon, right? And it gives you, I think, some options about risk levels and how to go about your ads. So I'll close with this. If by any chance you're going to Traffic and Conversions, be sure to stop by our little booth and say hello and chat with us, and we'll give you a free copy of this book, and just see how you're doing, and just chat you up. And we're certainly glad to see you. In fact, one of our members wants to interview me for a YouTube video. That's good. So by all means, come by, and if you're not going, we'll give you sort of a quick summary of what happened and some war stories maybe once we get to the next Hangout, which is, I believe, the 2nd week in March. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good evening.